Well, I'm glad you are back for your next visit. I am, of course, Orcarisper, your guide in the Sanguine Archives, where we explore the lore of the World of Darkness by White Wolf from a perspective of and focus on vampires, mainly Clan Baali. So let me guide you through the memories of the blood and let's see how far we can get tonight. As you see, there is a nice collection of books behind me, and I will try to share some of its ancient knowledge with you. In tonight's adventure, we will actually go a bit deeper than usual and visit the clans of hell, the Baali factions and their differences. The first thing I want to tackle is the stereotype of the Baali. Indeed, the Baali are arguably the most fractured clan of all. Some say they are actually more a sect than a clan, but I strongly disagree, as sects are supposed to be united in a goal or idea, and the Baali wage war against each other because they're anything but. Indeed, I'd draw a comparison to Demon the Fallen. Yes, all Baali deal with demons, but why, how much, to what ends and for what price is as different as are the many factions of the demons themselves. We even have multiple ways to classify the factions of the Baali. The first way is to distinct by founder, and there we have the Nergali. The Nergali are Baali who try to achieve apotheosis and become gods. They strive for power at all costs and aim for at least demonhood and turning into actual demons with infernal ranking. Like their founder Nergal, they are willing to do anything to achieve their goal. However they did, unlike their founder, learn from past mistakes. They can be subtle. They will do anything they have to achieve their goals. If that means founding a cult in secret and drawing on the souls of the followers, great. If it means they enter the stage as a god like Nergal did in Mesopotamia or with the Aztecs so long ago, they will do that too. If it means they have to present themselves as vulnerable, innocent little girl, or maybe a poor downtrodden bloke, they will do that too. They are power hungry on a level that makes the Ventru blush, but they aren't idiots. They will use subtle ways to get what they want, and if they can't take it outright, they will slowly gnaw at whatever dam keeps back what they want. The Nergali were nearly wiped out multiple times in history, despite being comparatively subtle, and it needed the Molochim, another brand of Baali, to snitch on them and lay the Nergali's plots to all of vampire kind before the other clans noticed and took action. The Nergali view demons as tools of power and nothing else. They are not demon worshippers, they actually just want to use demons to their own ends. Nergal himself tried to wake Namtaru and Kupala, not caring what it would do to the world, cause he wanted to ascend this world to begin with and become a god. If that leaves the world in ashes, he's fine with it. He wants to rule. Nergali similarly would rather rule in hell and make the entire earth into a sort of hell, as long as they get to be gods. For Demon the Fallen, the Nergali are aligned most closely with the Destroyers and the Faustian demons, as they share common goals. The Molochim. The Molochim are Baali who directly opposed the Nergali and waged two huge wars against the Nergali. It was Moloch himself that betrayed Nergal cause he thinks Nergal is a sick individual that can't be allowed to exist. According to the founding myth, Moloch wanted to actually make peace with the first men when Nergal just started consuming them and forced Moloch into action unless Moloch would be killed by the survivors. Moloch spied on the Nergali ever since and if threats arose, intervened to stop them, sometimes by directly taking action against him by his own, sabotaging the Nergali, or by telling Nergal's plans and secrets to other clans to unite them in an unholy crusade against the Nergali, which actually happened twice in history. You may know that as the First and Second Baali Wars. It wasn't indeed everyone against the Baali, it was all clans plus the Baali, to be precise the Molochim, against other Baali, the Nergali. The Molochim are directly opposed to the Nergali in pretty much every single way and try to stop them. The Molochim want to keep Namtaru, Kupala and other earthbound demons asleep. They do not want the world to be harmed, and they commit evil acts out of necessity, cause a certain level of depravity will nourish the earthbound just enough so they do not wake up. They play a lullaby of horror. Molochim aren't the good guys though. They genuinely try to protect the world from a demonic takeover, because they want to rule the world and do not want to be the rulers over ashes. They are also fine to rule from the shadows, gently pulling strings rather than taking the limelight. They aren't like Ventru and more akin to Tremere. And they did so very well, influencing many big events in Canaanite and mortal history alike, effectively causing not only 2 Baali wars, but the death of many a Methuselah and even at least 1, if not actually 2 antediluvians, namely Troil and Solot. Molochim are also seekers of knowledge rather than power. Molochim seem mostly aligned with the cryptics of Demon the Fallen and likely mostly deal with those and maybe Luciferian demons. The Molochim are further the only branch of Clan Baali, the only clan branch of the Baali that are aligned and allied with the Tal Mahira, the true Black Hand. Indeed, Moloch himself is a part of the Tal Mahira, just to give you an idea on how deep they are involved with Canaanite politics. The Molochim are actually a good source for player characters, as they at least oppose the most depraved acts. But don't be wrong here. The Molochim want to rule mortal and Canaanite society alike, and they actually have a lot of influence and power, but more to that in a later video. Let's go to the Swarm, sometimes referred to as the Unnamed. Very little is actually known about the details of this branch of Clan Baali, and it's shrouded in mystery, beginning by who the founder is. Well-founded speculations include Lilith, the first mage, the Crone, Shaitan, and the Slave Boy. The Swarm seems to be the branch of the Baali that is the one that does evils for evil's sake rather than a higher purpose. If there is one, it is not clear. It's speculated that the Swarm is the tool of revenge on the world from either of said founders, to take revenge on creation itself, against God, against Cain. They want the world to suffer as they did, and are the only branch of Clan Baali that deals with elder gods, the ancient evils beyond creation. They are also the only branch of the Baali that spreads disease and pestilence, and the Swarm is closely aligned with the Worm, and as a result deals a lot with Black Spiral Dancers in corporation, using worm creatures to further their own plots. The Swarm seems to just want to defile and corrupt creation. They were behind the Black Death and many other plagues, locust swarms that caused famines and make your worst nightmares come true. While Nergali do cruel deeds out of power lust, and Molochim do the most depraved things because they feel they have to prevent even worse, the Swarm revels in sadism and actually does spread evil because they genuinely enjoy it and just want to see the world burn, or more precisely, taken over by insects, because that is actually what they try to do. The Swarm, as the name suggests, deals a lot with all kinds of insects and spiders. They are breeding those and usually reside in the countryside rather than in a city, far away from usual Canaanite societies, brooding their bringers of pestilence in secret. The swarm, in terms of demons, is mostly aligned with the Reveners, though as said they are more dealing with the worm and its servants rather than the demons. The Asani Ali. These Baali are the most vile of them all, so they say, the most powerful of them all, and the most rare of them all. Asani Ali himself is a creature of legend, and may actually be a second-generation vampire. At least he is listed as such, but he is also listed as a fifth-generation vampire. So we don't know if it's two different Baali named Asani Ali or a diablerie happened, but Asani Ali predates the flood and may indeed be an original second-generation vampire, possibly an apostate rather than a true Baali. But it's also possible that Asani Ali, upon entering Khorasan, was just changed and his blood thickened. Either way, Asani Ali is very likely actually a second-generation vampire, which should give you a good idea on the power level of his faction. Asani Ali did find and unlock Khorasan, the unholy city which is supposedly storing Namtaru and the most powerful secrets in the world. What is known is that entering the city, Asani Ali changed. Asani Ali are the only Baali that have shark-like teeth and pitch-black eyes, because whatever was in the city changed them forever. Asani Ali is the only branch of Clan Baali that needs converts, because Asani Ali himself is the only Asani Ali that actually can embrace. All of his offspring are infertile. That also means, though, that all of his offspring are third-generation vampires. And while severely limited in number, the Asani Ali are definitely extremely powerful, given every single Asani Ali you encounter is third generation, with the exception of converts, which mostly come from Clan Masombra. However, it is unknown if any Asani Ali survived into the modern Knights. That is up to the storyteller to decide. They originated at the end of the Dark Ages, though. Asani Ali also get a different set of disciplines compared to other Baali, as they not only get Daimonion, but also Obtenebration, as they are deeply tied to the Abyss to a level that makes La Sombra Abyss mystics cower in fear. On that note, Asani Ali are also not aligned with any demons per se, but rather with the Abyss itself, and call upon the shadows rather than demons, which are kinda below their level. Just to give you an idea, the Asani Ali are allied with the very thing that keeps the demons imprisoned. We know little about the Asani Ali per se, but we do know that they claim to be the true Baali and want to lead the brethren to their true purpose. What that is pure speculation, but given Asani Ali might be a direct child of Cain, it's rumored that Cain embraced Asani Ali to found the Baali to fulfill one purpose: revenge against God, incarnating Cain's hate and fury against the heavens. Asani Ali deems himself the ruler of all Baali, the lord of the lords, but the other faction obviously disagree. A lot. However, young Baali tend to flock to Asani Ali and serve him, and most opposition comes from elder Baali. The Shaitani. The Shaitani are an entirely rumored faction, as Shaitan may just be another identity of Nurgle. Shaitan may also be just a title for the leader of all Baali, which, to be fair, isn't really recognized by other Baali anyway, see above, and there actually may have been multiple Baali claiming to be Shaitan. Actually, there were. But it may also refer to one specific Baali that may or may not be identical to the Slave Boy. This is the go-to Baali clan member faction for whatever you need. you can kinda make it up. However, they are supposed to be aligned with the Luciferian demon faction, and their main goal is to wage war against the heavens and establish demonic rule on earth. The Shaitani are the stereotypical demon worshippers, the Baali that are often branded as. And to be fair, most Baali are unfairly branded as demon worshippers, because the Shaitani are kinda the only branch of Clan Baali that actually worships demons. They would rather serve in hell than to rule in heaven, and see themselves as vessels to bring about Lucifer's rule on earth. Which is arguably not that bad if you go for the Demon the Fallen lore. Lucifer seems to be quite reasonable and nice, for a demon that is. At least he is at odds with other demons, cause he doesn't want to be cruel against mankind. Indeed, he might be a fan favorite of the mages, because he is in favor of awakening mankind to their true powers, and then turn them against God. He wants the mankind to be freed from the shackles that God implemented, and believes in human divinity he wants to utilize against the heavens. So that was it for the by founder factions. But wait, there is more. Cause those usually by blood and affiliation distinction is further set apart by ideological groups. And there we have the Destroyers. Those Baali just want to see the world burn. They are aligned with the Ravenous from Demon the Fallen and seem to hold a deep grudge against existence itself, which is why they work with Nefandi. They just want to end it all already. However, like Nefandi, they aren't stupid. They do not go around killing people in the weirdest ways, shouting they are Baali. They can further their goals subtly. Very subtly. Though personally I think they are most likely the Baali you encounter as NPCs and uncover their plans. Unlike the Swarm though, they do not want to defile or corrupt creation. Just undo it already. Make it end. They don't want to spread suffering, they just want to end everything. Then we have the Celestials. Despite the name, they are not good at all. Aligned with the cryptics from Demon the Fallen, the Celestials want one thing: divinity. Other than the Nergali, however, Celestials try to achieve it through knowledge rather than pure might. They may also go for demonhood, but not really. They may view it as a stepping stone to their goal, but they actually aim for ascension, similar to mages, and achieve apotheosis through knowledge and enlightenment, and their darkest secrets, trying to achieve something like an avatar of blood and partially undo God's curse so they can ascend from being vampires. The Children of Enigma. Going back to a single founder from Tyre, these Baali are collectors of knowledge. Very similar to the Dracon's Obertus order from Clan Tzimitzi, they collect knowledge and secrets for the sake of knowledge itself. They do not strive for divinity. They are scientists with no morals holding them back. They want knowledge, no matter how mundane or occult, no matter how heavenly or dark. They want to know, and that is what drives them. They are the academic types that don't give a damn about human lives. All that counts is the research, at all costs. If there is Baali abducting people for wicked experiments, it's the Children of Enigma. Avatars of the Swarm. Likely a part of or even identical to the Swarm faction we discussed above, earlier I should say. These Baali are the ones that try to spread not so much disease, but insects, and want those and spiders to become the dominant life forms on Earth. They spawn the brood mothers, the Baali that are so infamously known for, especially in cover art. They feed blood to insects inside their body to make them stronger, basically ghoulish insects, and then release them upon their enemies if need be. They are of course also closely aligned with the Ananasi from the Werewolf franchise. The Order of the Inner Light. Now these are an interesting bunch and oddity. They deal with the reconcilers from Demon the Fallen and actually try to repent their sins. They want to achieve Golconda and wash themselves clean in the eyes of God. They actively seek redemption and end their curse. These Baali actually have a triple masquerade going. The same masquerade all vampires do, then they masquerade themselves as non-Baali to other vampires like all Baali do, say they pose as a Toreador or a La Sombra, and a third masquerade on top, pretending to be normal Baali to other Baali. Why? Because if the Baali is found out to be in the Order of the Inner Light, other Baali will destroy them, just like Baali are put down by other vampires if they are found out to be Baali. The Order of the Inner Light also tries to get the entire clan Baali to the light and slowly uncorrupt them, so basically doing the opposite of what the Baali and Setites do. The Order of the Worm. These Baali are all exclusively posing as Tremere or are indeed converted Tremere apostates that actually live, work and operate within Clan Tremere as official Tremere members. The Order of the Worm is the main go-to place for new Baali to get aid from the clan, get a canine identity and help. The Order of the Worm is also the main recruitment arm of the Baali, converting many a Tremere. The order officially belongs to the Molochim, but it seems to now serve the entire clan Baali rather than just the Molochim, and it actually may have infiltrated the Circle of Seven. The Angelis Ater. Actually, there is a confusion about this, because the Angelis Ater are not Baali. They are La Sombra Infernalists that allied with the Baali. Or precise, they allied with Asani Ali, and the Asani Ali get often mistaken for Angelis Ater and vice versa. But the Angelis Ater are not Baali, they are La Sombra Infernalists. They do not have the Baali clan weakness or discipline. They are, however, Infernalists that help Asani Ali and share apparently a common goal of bringing the Abyss to the world and making it manifest in all creation. They do have the La Sombra clan weakness of casting no reflection. Whew, and there we have it, the known factions of the Baali in the World of Darkness. If your game needs it, you can definitely make more and make your own. It wouldn't be hard to explain with a clan that fractured to begin with, and another Baali claiming the title of Shaitan would be nothing new, really. Pull a number and get in line, there's a dozen others before you. And with this, we will end this visit to the Sanguine Archives. I hope you enjoyed your travel and learned something. If you want to help me out, please like, subscribe and most importantly, share it and bring friends along next time. It really helps a lot and I appreciate it. Thank you and good night.